Welcome back to another episode of Hope Collides. I want to talk a little bit about my dad and the hope that Jesus can bring in sometimes the most difficult situations. Several years ago, long before I was born, my dad would play softball, but he didn't believe in Jesus. He played softball. He went to a church so he could play softball with them because he just loved softball, but he had to go to church in order to go. So he married my mom, and then the following weekend after that, he was playing in a game, and he caught a forearm to the chin and snapped his neck. They said he'd never walk again. He'd be lucky to move his arms again. So he's in the hospital, and the guy who did this came in and prayed over him every day and wept. He felt terrible. Every day he prayed and prayed. And the more he prayed, the more my dad believed, because my dad just thought there's no way he would do this if there wasn't something to it. And then eventually my dad goes home and started having feeling in his legs. He told the nurses and the doctors, they said he was crazy, because once a week a nurse came in and once a month the doctor came in. Well, after a couple months of this, the nurse decided she wanted to put an end to it. She said, you know what, I'll check your reflexes. So she did. She checked his reflex and his leg moved. And she goes, you do have feeling in your legs. And he goes, that's what I've been telling you. So she went and she told the doctor, and the doctor told her she's crazy. The doctor didn't want to believe the nurse because in their mind, nothing could change. That this is what happened, and he'd never walk again. And he was lucky he was moving his arms at all. So, continuing on. So a couple more months goes by, and the doctor decided to give my dad a shot in the foot because he wouldn't feel the shot if that's where he gave it to him. So he did, and my dad felt it and literally kicked the doctor in the head because he felt it. And the doctor goes, what are you doing? And he tried to blame my dad for faking this injury so that way he'd get disability. Really hard to do. The doctor who said he'd never walk again is now saying that my dad faked the whole thing. But in my mind, it's like, if that was true, wouldn't the doctor have caught it? Again, this is long before I was born, but the doctor didn't want to believe it. Guys, God restored my dad's ability to walk. It does not always happen that way, but he did. Now, my dad, if you ever met him, you'd never know there's anything wrong with him. He still runs. His memory's not great, and that part of the concussion that came from the accident. But he can walk again. God restored him in that way. And he can do that to you in your life. It might not look physically like you've been restored, but he can restore you. He can restore your soul. He can give you strength and hope. We just have to lean on him. I know it's not always easy, but as we dig into the Word and hang out with other Christians in fellowship, those are some of the ways he does it. So I want to encourage you. And if you have any prayer requests, let me know. But I'm here for you because we need each other. So be restored the way my dad was restored. Have a good day and God bless.